Good morning. How are my dear friends this morning? Hope you're having a great start to your day. Question and answer Friday. Looking forward to answering your questions. And Brahim is first on this morning, said he's getting Viderma. Attaboy, Brahim from Oregon. Mike from Norland. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Rosa, Sandra, Aurelia, Nativity, Aaron, Nick from our staff, Denise, North Bay, Annette, good morning. New Brunswick, I believe. Catherine, good morning. Wendy from Markham. Madeleine, how are you? Dorita, Manitoba. Is it cold? Denise, Zian, and Jean, dear friends. Derek, Tecumseh, near Windsor. John, in Phoenix. By the time I get to Kat, Corinne, good morning. Charlena, Notre Dame du Nord. I know that place. Pauline, Newfoundland. Sharon, good morning. Diane, Thunder Bay, freezing. Adeline, LaSalle, near Windsor. Kevin, Oshawa. Len and Judy, Edmonton. Bright and early. Jeanette, good morning. Dave, he said he's missing Florida. Marin, good morning. Lori, Caroline, bon matin, how are you? Edmonton, dear friends too. Cheryl, Pennsylvania. Dave, Muskoka. Darlene, Saskatchewan. And good morning, Kathy. And Jeanette's from Hearst. Donna, Bell Valley. Good morning, Donna. Rhonda, Neustadt. Maureen, Penticton. That's bright and early. Meta. Good morning. Or Mita. Pat, how are you? Kathy, Sarasota, Florida. Bonjour, Joss. Milika, good morning. Lori, Niagara Falls. And Judith from Florida. We got lots from Florida. And Renee is saying it's her last day in Florida. Well, good morning to you, Renee. Lynn, Halifax. Elliott Lake, Lois. Okay, a couple of more. Crystal, Alberta. Grace, Fenwick, Ontario. Judy and Deb, a teacher from good morning. Oh, she's calling me the teacher. Deb, good morning from Detroit. Donna, good morning. Tina. Oh, Tina, how are you? Okay, from Kipling. Now, let's get to the questions. They're always good. I appreciate them very much. Brenda's asking a good question, and she's asking, what's the best time to take your blood pressure? It don't matter. It really doesn't. Look, one thing I do, Brenda, is caution people over the years, and I said this to a lot of patients. Don't be taking your blood pressure 10 times a day. There's no need for it. Look, if you've had trouble or whatever, every once in a while I'll go into a pharmacy and they got the cuff there, I'll take my blood pressure. But I find, and this is just why I caution a little bit, that people take it too much, and you know what? It stresses them out because they're always looking at, they're nervous. And look, if you're being treated for high blood pressure by your physician, yes, once a day monitor your blood pressure, okay? And it doesn't really matter when you're taking it. Monitor it. That's all right. But don't over-monitor it because now you are elevating your cortisol, your stress hormone. And that's going to elevate your blood pressure. I remember one lady came into the office and I said, she had her blood pressure cuff with her. I said, give it to me. You're not getting it back for 2 weeks. I said, you're driving yourself crazy with your blood pressure. Look, and let me just go over it, okay? Generally, here's the way I look at blood pressure. If it's not, your second number is really the most important. Now, look, I'm not saying you don't look at both numbers. Of course you do. But your systolic, diastolic, like I'm more interested in that second number and it not being over 90. Anything over 90 really is high blood pressure. So if you're 140 over 88, that's normal blood pressure. And you know, look, you got to understand, I've been around for 50 years. And when I was taught blood pressure, you know, it 120 over 80, okay? But in those days, like today, the pharmaceuticals have gotten involved. So they want blood pressure to be right here, and anything high on that first number, people, I think, some people are taking blood pressure medication. They don't need it. But listen, that's between you and your physician. But like I said, a lot of people overdo it when it comes to their blood pressure. They monitor it too much. And they got charts coming out. I remember people coming in and they had 10 pages of notes that they wanted me to look at. I said, nah, have you been over 90 on your second number? No. I said, well, you don't have high blood pressure. Okay. So, and you can have low blood pressure too, of course. You know, it's too low. Usually thyroid. So, anyway, okay? Louise is asking, what can be done for fluid in the middle ear? Well, look, I mean, there's a time, look, you know, if it's been chronic, kids, you know, they oftentimes, you know, physicians will put tubes in their ears to drain that fluid if they get recurring infections. And, you know, people, I find, look, the middle ear, when you got fluid in there, it's usually sinus problems. And if you have sinus problems, okay, chronic sinusitis, and a lot of people don't realize it because it doesn't bother them so much in their sinus, but their ears are plugged all the time. Fluid, they're not draining. Can I tell you what the root cause of that is? Yeast. It's a fungal infection. And you got to change your diet. Get off all sugars. Don't feed the bears. Fix yeast. Clean it up. Low carbs. Actually, no carbs. Do the reset. Amazing how people, like things they never even associated, but yeast goes from your gut through leaky gut, can travel to your brain, from your brain to your toes. Yeast, toes literally, right? Toe fungus. But if that stuff gets in your sinuses, you can have postnasal drip, you can have fluid built up in your ears. And, you know, doctors like to use antibiotics, but that makes yeast worse. Yeah, it make you feel better for a few days, but then it comes back with a vengeance. So I'm big on getting rid of yeast. Yeast, look, we all have a little bit of yeast. You got a little bit of yeast in your gut, that's normal. As long as it stays in your gut, it don't go anywhere else. Okay? So, good question. And look, Louise, like again, you know, you get... My son-in-law is an emergency physician, okay? Sees a lot of ear, you know, you can imagine, and babies screaming. But I like what he said. I don't like to give antibiotics because it's viral in babies. It's not bacterial, it's a virus. So he says, I give them an antihistamine and a painkiller for a couple of days, and it drains the ear. Instead of using an antibiotic. Because antibiotics, they don't work on viruses. Oh, it went away, doc. I know, but you killed your friendly bacteria and you didn't even need an antibiotic. And again, I'm giving medical advice, but not for individuals. Okay, this is just general information. Okay, good question, Louise. Esther saying she gets constantly zapped in the winter. Everything she touches. Well, that's dry. Your home is dry, Esther. And you're drying out. Okay, don't worry about it. Happens. Electrifying personality. I agree. Good for you. Pauline saying, dairy causes my thyroid antibodies to spike. And she wants to know, what else can I get the nutrients that are in dairy? Well, generally, Pauline, and I don't know you, so let me just give you a general answer. Don't ditch your dairy, switch your dairy. Because you might have a lactose intolerance, and dairy, a lot of people equate grocery store milk as dairy. I call that white Pepsi. Don't touch yogurt. Maybe Greek yogurt, but even then, I'm not big on yogurt, okay? I'm not big on it. I'd rather you only use cream and cheese. And you don't drink dairy. I mean, cream, yeah, you can put it in a Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie. I like cream for that. But generally, people don't have intolerances to cheese. And cheese won't elevate your, ordinarily will not elevate your antibodies for your thyroid. So don't ditch dairy, switch dairy. Now listen, if you're part of that little percentage that can't take any kind of dairy, some people just can't. And I call them weird. Okay, they're unique. No, because a lot of people, again, they mix up. When they say dairy, they really do mean milk. And ice cream ain't dairy, okay? Well, it is, but it's not. You know what I mean? That's a treat. Don't have that, okay? But yeah, there's a lot of things in dairy. That's why I don't want you to ditch it, because you have a certain fatty acid called CLA. It's very, very good for you. That's found in dairy. And that's why I want you to switch it, not ditch it, okay? Pauline, good question. Sally, big boils. Her daughter came in, and Irene for the same question, random boils. Well, boils, think about it, okay? What's a boil, okay? Comes out. It's fungal. It's not a bacteria. It's not a virus. It's fungal. And the body's trying to get rid of it. So you see a boil coming out. Some people get them at the base of their skull, on their sebaceous cysts, or they get boils in their legs. You get moisture. And moisture, what is it? Mold is the first cousin of yeast. They're cousins. And they love moisture. They love sugar. Don't feed it. Get on probiotics. I would even do our Candida cleanse for boils. Okay? Good question. And that was Sally and Irene. Susan, what's the difference between brown fat and white fat? Okay, it's a good question. Brown fat is full of mitochondria, little batteries, okay? Now, as you get older, you don't get a lot of brown fat. We got the wrong fat. That's white fat. White fat is very inflammatory. It's visceral fat around your organs, your pancreas, your intestines, belly fat, and around your liver. That's all white fat. Brown fat keeps you warm. That's why babies have some brown fat when they're born. Okay? Usually around the back of their neck and in between their shoulder blades, you'll see baby fat. That's brown fat. That's healthy fat. That's to keep them warm. They can't shiver like you and I can. Okay? So when you build muscle, okay, there is some fat there. Okay? The stronger you are, the more brown fat your body will produce. And it's full of mitochondria. But white fat is strictly diet. It's when you eat sugar, sugar is stored as fat. When you insist on being a carboholic, it's going to be stored as fat. And if you don't believe me, have a look at the world today. You know what? I brought this out, I think, at the start of this week. And, it was a stat on men in the United States. 80% of them are in the obese category. 80. I said, that can't be. 80% is what they said. And of course, the African American population, almost 80% are obese. 88% of the people in North America have some form of metabolic syndrome. They're on the broad road that leads to destruction. That's where cancers come from. That's where heart disease comes from. That's where Alzheimer's comes from. That's where diabetes comes from. That's where autoimmune diseases come from. Bad eating, insulin resistance, high circulating insulin. Repeat, 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 repeat. Good question about brown fat and white fat. Susan, thanks for that. Lenise, what are the benefits of quercetin? Well, there's a lot of, I like quercetin. What does it do? Well, quercetin is anti-inflammatory. Quercetin is a natural antihistamine. How do I, Dr. Martin, how do I get quercetin every day? I had quercetin this morning. I'm waiting. It's not a trick question, but it's a question that, if you don't know it, you will know it after we talk about it. But I'm going to wait to see if someone knows how I got my quercetin this morning. Dave, you're the first one up. Coffee. Beata, coffee. Elaine, coffee. Do you know, Wendy, coffee. Anybody else? Lucy, coffee. Norma, coffee. You guys, Carol, coffee. You guys are the smartest, Phyllis. I mean it. My audience, Rosa, Michelle. I love you guys. Lorianne, you listen. Zian, yes. Coffee, Sue. Holly. You guys are smarter than the average bear. Yvonne, Danny, you got it all right. Nobody's got it wrong. And Julie, I love it. IT. Okay, you get quercetin in coffee. Yeah. And you know what it does? You drink coffee. You get 1,000. Okay, because somebody yesterday, okay, and again, I get it because all these gurus out there, this one was a thyroid nutrition or whatever, naturopath or whatever said, yeah, well, the coffee, drains your minerals. How crazy is that? What? Oh, yeah, coffee's not good for you because it drains your minerals. Well, you know what? Think about this, guys, and I know you guys know this, but I'm going to preach it to you anyway. If something is so good for you that has 1,000 phytonutrients in it, that's coffee, 1,000. One of them is quercetin, okay? Oh, yeah, but it's got 1,000 good things, but oh yeah, it drains your minerals out of your body. It takes magnesium, takes potassium, takes your trace minerals out of your body. What? It brings minerals to your body. It's like when they vilify red meat. Oh, yeah, but red meat it's acidic, it's toxic, it's carcinogenic, it's blah, 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 blah. And my argument is always, well, why would God do that? Why would he put B12 only in red meat, heme iron only in red meat, zinc? See, you drink coffee with your steak and you put zinc inside your cell. What does zinc do inside your cell? It builds your immune system. You eat your zinc. Okay. You drink your quercetin and you eat your zinc in vitamin S. It doesn't make any sense, guys. I know they say it. Do you know what? Listen, 50 years ago they were saying it. Coffee, that's not good for, well, let me give you another. I get a question every week. It's all right. I like the question. So who came in and somebody said something about coffee here? I'm just trying to find it. Who said? Somebody asked me about coffee. Oh, Crystal, 4 cups of coffee a day for the, 4 cups of coffee a day. Absolutely, Crystal. 4 cups. That's what I have, by the way, every day. 4 cups of coffee, okay? I'm a creature of habit. The odd day, I'll have 5. But most days, I have 4 cups of coffee a day. So if you want to follow my pattern, I was reading in the Bible, like the Apostle Paul in Philippians 4:9, he said, hey, you saw me, watch me, follow me. Do what I do. And I like that. I said, well, a lot of people ask me personally, Doc, what do you eat? What do you drink? I drink water and coffee, nothing else. Oh, once in a while, I'll make myself the perfect smoothie with protein powder. But I don't drink anything else. I never drink juice. Never drink juice. Whether it's green or not, I don't drink juice. God didn't want you to drink juice. He wanted you to eat fruits and vegetables. Don't drink them. Okay? Don't drink them. There was another question on coffee. Let me just find it because I like that. I love questions. It had to do with the adrenal glands, and it's fake news, but let me get to it. Oh, Lisa, sorry, I found it. I have been told, okay? You've been told wrong. Lisa, look, you know me, I'm joking, okay? In a sense that it's my sense of humor. I can't help it, okay? I've been told in the past that drinking coffee will elevate levels of cortisol. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. I know caffeine ain't that good for you. Well, look, if caffeine bothers you, then enjoy coffee decaffeinated. It's good for you. You get all the phytonutrients. You get 1,000 phytonutrients in decaffeinated coffee. If you find for your adrenals, Lisa, that caffeine bothers you, it don't bother me as long as I don't have I have a decaf at night. One of my coffees is a decaffeinated. And I look for Swiss water, decaffeinated coffee. What's that mean? Well, there's no chemicals used at all to take the caffeine out. It's a water filtration. Anyway, Lisa, like, if, some people, look, everybody's different. If you're sensitive to caffeine, then drink decaffeinated. It's no problem. I'm telling you, you get the benefits. It's not the caffeine that I drink coffee for. I drink it because it's got quercetin. It's better than vitamin C. That's why it's the Martin Clinic vitamin C. It's 1,000 times better than ascorbic acid. And it has ascorbic acid in it. It has 1,000. I got at least 200 studies on the benefits of coffee. My wife said, if you find a negative one on a study on coffee, will you read it? No. No, I won't, because it's not true. Okay. See how much fun I have? Okay, let's get back here, okay? Because I'm getting off topic. Okay, so Crystal, I answered you. Kim, I have no gallbladder. Should I be using bile salts? Nope. No, because listen, if you have no gallbladder, God gave you plan B. The reason that women don't have gallbladders is because they bought the lie of eating fat-free. Your gallbladder, you got a gallbladder and cows don't. You got a gallbladder and rabbits don't. There's a reason. They're vegetarians. Cows are vegetarian. Human beings should never be a vegetarian or a vegan. Never. Under no circumstances. Why? You have a gallbladder. If you have a gallbladder, that is for animal products, animal fat. We talked about it earlier, saturated fat. In another podcast, it'll be coming to a theater near you soon. I talk about saturated fat is the perfect fat. Why is it perfect? Because it's very stable. It's satisfied. And PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, is unsatisfied. They can't. Remember that song? I can't get no satisfaction, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. Well, those are seed oils. Remember the Rolling Stones? I can't get no satisfaction. That is a polyunsaturated fatty oil, like canola oil. And I talked about it yesterday, soy oil. Soy oil is the number one oil in the world, and you can ride your car on it. But it's not meant for your human body, okay? Very, very good questions. Okay. Oh, so Kim, if you don't have a gallbladder, then when you're doing the reset, just be a little bit more careful. Your body will get used to it though, because you see, bile doesn't come from your gallbladder. Bile comes from your liver. That was plan B. Plan A is when you have a gallbladder, it's a little reservoir of bile. But if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay? It's as simple as that. Now, women are more complicated because they got hormones, and a lack of progesterone affects the gallbladder too, okay? But, okay, very good. Beth is asking, what is the normal iron level for a human being? Well, look, you can Google that, Beth. I'm not going to answer a question because I don't look at iron too much. I mean, I believe in iron. Of course I do. You need it. But listen, here, let me give you an overview here, just quick. You can have too little iron and you can have too much iron. Now, let me tell you what happens. When a woman, when they get too much estrogen and they have bad menses, very bad, they bleed and it's terrible, hormones, they're often anemic. But there's two things missing usually, iron And women get into real trouble. Because of menses, and two, they don't eat enough heme iron in steak, red meat. They don't eat enough. They like chicken. Chicken doesn't fix your blood. There's no iron in it. There's no heme iron in chicken. Okay? Do I like chicken? Yeah, I like chicken. I like steak better. Okay? So, but women, you get into trouble. Estrogen, heavy menses, bad periods, lose iron. Okay? You eat your iron. I often put a patient on blood boost, okay, to build up their iron. The other thing that's happening, and this is very common today, and it's usually in men, men get too much iron. You know why? It's not because they're eating too much steak. It's because their liver is full of fat. They got fatty liver. How did they get fatty liver? Because they're carboholics. And they, they literally oftentimes have to go give blood to get rid of their iron. Men, and look, it happens in women too, but mostly in men. Too much iron because of fatty liver. Bad diet full of carbs and sugars. And men are stubborn. They don't listen. Okay? Okay. Now, Bonnie, on Facebook, someone posted 75% of your supplements are damaged by acid in your stomach. Any truth to that? No, there's no truth to it. It's fake news. Because we enterically coat, our capsules are enterically coated to get past stomach acidity. Okay? So, our probiotics are enterically coated to get past the stomach acidity. So, a lot of times supplements, when they're not well made, guys, you get what you pay for a lot of times. I'm telling you, I've seen it, okay? Good question. Thanks for that, Bonnie. Helena, what do I think about the Daniel fast? Now, the Daniel fast is, I think it's 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. It comes out of the book of Daniel in chapter 1, where Daniel, he didn't want to eat the meat that was sacrificed to idols. And so he said, just feed us vegetables and for a few weeks and we'll be all right. But that's not for you, guys. Well, think about it for a minute. Okay, look. I know got a one-track mind, okay? And I don't want to be dismissive, okay? I don't. But isn't it better to do a fast without a fast? Because if you're doing a vegetable fast, you're not really fasting totally, but you're not getting all the nutrients you need. You know me. Here's where I come from. I want you to, what? I want you to change fuels. I want you, look, I don't even allow you to have vegetables for a month. There's a reason for it. I talked about it yesterday. Oxalates, lectins, cellulose. I talked about them. Okay? And I don't want you to have that for a month. I'm not saying vegetables are no good for you. I'm not. I am saying that if you're going to do a fast without fasting. I was telling a friend the other day that I almost named my book, The Reset, #1 seller in Canada, #1. I almost called it Fasting Without Fasting. Yeah. Because when you have the proper fuel, you see, when you have the wrong fuel, you make a lot of debris. A manufacturing plant produces energy. They're going to have debris. But if you have the right fuel, that's one of the things, like a jet. It's got 99% octane. There's not a lot of debris. Okay? So you're getting a better fuel, fast without fast. Okay? So look, if you want to do the Daniel fast, like, hey, beat yourself up. I don't care if you do it. But you're asking me to compare it to the reset. There's no comparison, in my opinion. Okay? In my opinion. Sonia, hemp seed oil. Okay? And she's saying it's a bad seed oil. No, hemp seed is not a bad seed oil. You're not cooking with it. It's not a bad seed oil. I like hemp seed. Don't smoke it. Okay? I can't get over, like, I want to scream, but I got to tell you something. It bothers me that all these businesses are closed, and gyms are closed, and the marijuana shops are open. Like, what genius is in charge of that? Like, are you kidding me? Marijuana, okay, the plant, it's a hemp plant, okay? And the seeds are actually good. But the oil, okay, it's not bad. It doesn't go rancid. You're not using it to cook with, right? So you can take it. I've written in different books that I've written over the years, I talked about hemp seed. But guys, that oil, gives you omega a little bit. It gives you plant omega-3, plant omega-6, plant omega-9. The problem is you don't need 6. I'm big on fish oil. I'm big on steak. Do you know that steak has high levels of DHA? It does. Cows eat grass to give you DHA. Don't you eat grass? Okay, so no, I'm not against hemp seed oil. Like, a lot of people use it, and I got no problem with it. Okay, couple more here. I'm getting there. Okay, Marilyn is asking, she's got restless legs. What's the problem? Well, a couple of problems. One of them oftentimes is restless legs, low iron. Make sure, low iron. Women, microcirculation, those little capillaries, okay? Very important, and that's why I always love Navitol for restless legs. Blood boost, restless legs, okay? Good question. Sharon, what is the best time to take insulin balance? Well, with meals or just before a meal. It depends on where your insulin is at, but like, for example, like for me, I like to take it I take it in the morning, and then I'll take a capsule, especially if I'm going to have more of a heavy meal, okay? Good question. Carolyn, I've had 6 x-rays for my neck and upset that my thyroid was exposed. Yeah, well, radiation, yep, it gets exposed. How do you get rid of that? She asking. Well, you know what? Glutathione. Well, how do I get glutathione, Dr. Martin? Well, empty your liver. When your liver is functioning properly and not full of gummed up with fat, your body produces glutathione. It will get rid of that radiation. Isn't that wonderful? And do you know what else? Navitol increases your glutathione naturally. Isn't that beautiful? But your body makes glutathione. Velcro, I call it, because all impurities, including radiation, heavy metals, and whatever, your body knows how to get rid of it as long as your liver is empty. Okay? Good question. Jeanette. Is that Jeanette from our staff or another Jeanette? I don't know. What do I think of the hemocode to target food intolerances? Not much. Listen, I used to, in practice, okay, I had these kits, okay, and I could send out your blood, saliva, urine out to a lab, and check for food intolerances, okay? They were expensive, about $600, okay? They used to send me a check for 200 back. So 400 for the test and 200 for the doctor who ordered the test, okay? But I didn't do very many. Ask the girls that work with me. Hardly any. Why? I used to tell them, why don't you be your own doctor? Don't do the hemocode test. Do the me test. What do I mean by that? Well, do the elimination diet. Because sometimes, what these things would monitor is your antibodies towards certain foods. And, and you know what? When you got leaky gut and you're all messed up, gee, they come back in 50 foods you can't eat, eggs, cheese, and I used to go, no. Just lower your carbs, take probiotics, fix your diet, and you'll be unbelievably pleased on how little food intolerances you have left. You got to fix the leaky gut. And, your body, when you got an intolerance, it's sort of autoimmune. Your body is overreacting to something that it shouldn't reacting to. It's like a teenager that's got mood swings. What did I say that got them so upset? Well, it isn't you, parent, it's them. Okay, and it's the same thing with food. Eliminate something and then add it, eliminate 1 week and then add it back and go, oh, you know what? I don't do so well with that. Hello, there's your clue. Save yourself $600. Even though I was getting a check back for 200. Okay. Linda, hydrolyzed beef collagen and biocell collagen cause gut trouble, just the opposite. That's why I love bone broth. It's collagen protein. And collagen regenerates your gut. So I can't see it, Linda, why those things would bother your gut. Shouldn't bother your gut at all. They're made for your gut. Okay. I answered Lisa's question. Wendy, duodenal ulcers at 6. Did I mean that I had leaky gut? Your mommy might have had leaky gut. You might have got ulcers from a bacteria because you were on antibiotics as a kid. Okay. And you get, a certain bacteria that can live in around the duodenum and the stomach, and it can cause an ulcer. Usually there's a perfect storm, especially in kids. Okay? So, mommy might have started it right in the placenta with you. Or antibiotics as a little girl, Wendy. But you can fix that. Leaky gut can be fixed. Don't feed the bears. Regenerate the gut. Broad spectrum probiotics fixes leaky gut. And colon, last question, colon polyps. Why do they bleed? Well, they can get irritated. You gotta, yesterday I spent, Lynn, so it'll come out as a podcast, okay, as called Gut Killers. And I talked about that yesterday. And I talked mostly about diverticulosis, but polyps, same thing. It's your diet. It's too much roughage, in my humble opinion. Too much fiber. Too many carbohydrates. Too much cereal. Too much. That's what. And they bleed because they get irritated. They'll bleed, especially if you pour fiber in there all the time. Okay? Good question. Okay. I think I answered all of them. You guys are great. Okay, so little housekeeping. If you're not a member of the private Facebook group, we love you guys. Join up. What a community. Back and forth. Okay? We love that. 2, the book, The Reset. Okay? If you haven't read it, you got to read it. Give it to your friends. It'll change their lives. Okay? They might not believe you, but they might read the book and believe me. Okay? And, okay, and our podcast, The Doctor Is In podcast. Tell your friends about it. They can download it. It can come automatically. Go to our website, martinclinic.com. Okay, guys, I love you dearly. Talk to you soon.